To our monthly Aiming for Access, where the topics are about all things universal design for learning, accessibility, AI, assistive technology, all the topics that are meaningful or relevant at the time. And we are so excited that Bryan Dean excitedly jumped in to provide this time with you. So,
I was super stoked. I was like, you mean me? I had to look over my shoulder, make sure you weren't talking to somebody behind me. So I was really quite excited.
I love it.
That and my parole officer said that I could knock some time off. So I
Oh,
was
that's
like, well,
good.
that's even
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Right. I did send him a check, so I'm glad that
Thank you. I appreciate that. I
yeah,
hope
you're
it clears.
welcome.
I hope it clears this time, Kelly. I really do. Last time it was a whole thing. So,
Oh my gosh, I love it. So Bryan and I are the co-hosts of the Learning Experience podcast, and so we have this banter going on all the time. We love any of you to be a guest on our podcast. So I just wanted to give a shout out. So Bryan, what are you going to talk about? What are we sharing today?
well, Kelly, I wonder if in this digital age, do you ever feel like you don't have enough information coming in?
Oh, oh yes. I'm just
Yeah, I know.
seeking more
I am
information to get
always
thrown
like,
at me.
I am always hungry for more and more. But more important, more to the point, do you feel like sometimes like you feel a little disconnected? I know that we often work from home, and while some of us, you, travel all around and see tons of people and make tons of friends because you're a gregarious and outgoing person, a person like myself who is locked in this box, like this isn't even a room. I am just a digital construct that exists here. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a little out of touch, or I don't feel like I have my people around me.
Yeah.
Today I would love to show off our Mighty Network, which is kind of the platform name, but really what is it is a digital community that has about 4,000 people in it that talk about all things UDL, all things accessibility, all things AI, all things anything anybody wants to talk about. It's free to join. So that's what I was hoping to talk about today. Why,
Love
did
it.
you have a different idea? Because I
No,
didn't
I
prep
think
for anything else.
I think that's a perfect idea, and you should unlock the door to Mighty Networks and let all of our friends who are here now hop in there with us.
That's right. Just from the chat, how many people are familiar with Mighty Networks potentially, or have heard about it, or feel like they should belong to something that says mighty because they are in fact mighty people?
Hmm. Getting some thumbs up.
Right? Nope. A lot of no. Nope. That's all right. That's cool. Then I get to show you only the stuff I want to show you, which will be even better, right? So let me take you through what Mighty Networks is. So you can go and find Mighty Networks at well, let me see here. Let me share. This technology thing is I don't know about it. If it's gonna work out. Should I introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Oh
I'm
my
just
gosh, I
assuming
forgot to.
everyone knows you. No,
Yeah, I
Bryan.
forgot to introduce myself.
I
I
didn't
am
introduce
Bryan
myself.
Dean. You should introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kelly Suding. I'm from CAST. I'm one of the implementation specialists here at CAST. And my friend and colleague, Bryan Dean, what's your role?
I am the innovation strategist for CAST, but moreover, I think that I am the UDL Swiss Army knife here at CAST. I just try to get in where I fit in.
Yeah.
And so I get to work on cool stuff with cool people and smash out ideas to fix problems that we see in education. So it's a good time.
Great.
So, and today I want to talk about Mighty Networks. If you haven't heard of Mighty Networks, Mighty Networks, I mean, how many folks are involved in some kind of social media or some kind of professional learning network? That's kind of what Mighty Networks is. It's a platform that does just that. And it's a platform that is specifically designed for professional learning networks. It is a closed system. So what's nice about it is that once you've joined it, you can share information. We have some groups in our Mighty Network community that work on research projects or work on undercover ideas, like ideas that they're going to want to put out or innovative ideas that they want to put out. And it's all kind of protected because it's a closed system. And how Mighty Networks usually breaks down is there's a large kind of grouping. So our large grouping is our CAST UDL community, and you can go and find and sign up for that by just going to our community.cast.org under Mighty Networks, and you should be able to pull into it and find here. I'll show you the details. How about that?
I'll put the link in the chat
Yep.
also.
And you can put the link in the chat, and then you'll be able to sign up, and you can see we have tons of hosts, we have tons of moderators. You can see some pretty famous faces, like there's a Neil Alberto in there, there's a Mia in there. Well, you'll recognize these folks of this cast of characters, if you will.
Oh, I
Uh,
see what you did there.
yeah, I'm going to pause for everybody to grab onto that one. This cast of characters, if you will. So at any rate, what the community is broken down into a couple kind of like big areas, right? There is a discovery and a feed so that people can trade ideas and share resources. There's events that we host within the networks, and then there are these kind of spaces. There's a CAST General UDL community, which when you first join and you get accepted by the invite, or you make a request, and then I feel powerful and say, yes, you can come join. This is kind of, you'll be dumped directly into the general discussion board for the CAST UDL community and be dumped into the general UDL and AI learning community. Now, within each one of those, these are kind of two spaces that exist or two neighborhoods that kind of exist, right? Within our CAST community. When you go to those, if you click just on the CAST UDL community, you're going to see what pops up is a bunch of other communities and they say join right underneath them. Now, most of these are simple and easy to join. Like in our general, we have a great group of Spanish-speaking practitioners that's joining. They're very active. We have a great CTE group. You'll notice we don't have an AIM group, but that would be kind of cool to have one started. And then you have like a welcome to CAS community. I suggest that you click when you first get let in. You click on the join the CAS welcome community because the welcome community will have everything you need to know about navigating and going through a cast, all of our areas, our spaces, and how to work the navigation, the feeds, how to check out members, all those sorts of things, just in this little packet right here. It's a course, but it's not a course like you would take on Canvas where you're going to have like, it's going to be facilitated over 7 weeks and you're going to have to submit an assignment. It's just a get to know you kind of course, and it orients you to the things that happen in the community. So there's a FAQ, there's a way to customize your member profile and notification, so you can click on that. It'll pull it up as another box. Within that, you can take a look. So this was built by McKinsey from long ago, but it still works really well. And it gives you each lesson, so you can kind of jump around, figure out what you need to know and what it looks very similar. It's totally up to you. It's a free form for you to use and navigate your way through. Once you have done that and you've oriented yourself, then you can, as I said, you can click on this CAST UDL community and you can start looking at joining other communities. So this is my profile as a new user. So Kelly, when you first sign up, this is what you're going to see. And then you can say, hey, I would really like to join this career and technical group, right? And it will say access. You'll click on it and it'll say pending approval because each one of these, remember, this system is fairly locked down as far as invitation goes because we want to let people in that want to come in, right? And it's not that we're gatekeeping it, it's that we're trying to keep it very private for folks to have some of the conversations they need to have that don't necessarily need to be on Facebook group or something like that, right? So
Mhm.
so you request to join, you can check and see your status. I usually go through here as a host every day, and I approve the 300 plus people that want in just about every day. So your approval happens pretty quickly, and you can join as many of these groups as you want. So this would be our CAST UDL community. We're going to be adding some there if you are interested after you get in to the CAST community, the general community, and you're like, hey, it'd be really great to have an AIM community, or it'd be really great to have a community, around just building some materials or something. You just go ahead and send one of the hosts an email, and we'll talk about building community. Now, if you want to build a private community that is just for your people in Maryland, that's not really the design of our larger community, but you can also go ahead and sign up and build your own Mighty Network, which is really simple to do. There is a free version of it that you can sign up for. It doesn't allow a ton of people in, and it doesn't give you all the features, but you could start building it out and seeing if you like it. But if you're working on a CAST project and you feel like a Mighty Network would be a great way for you to keep in contact with the CAST project, we could talk about building those out. The other one I wanted to show you is the AI community. Has anybody heard of AI? This concept of artificial intelligence? Kelly, you've heard of it, right? Like
No, tell
you're
me
on the
more.
cutting edge. Well, it's this idea of this concept of building intelligence from the ground up, which is the first endeavor that we've ever done in human history. So, I don't know if it's going to take off or not. But if you have been paying attention, or if you haven't been living under a rock, someplace, you know that AI is huge. I will just give you this as a number for AI. So in the last 3 years, what we know as far as it, in the last 3 years, we've seen a huge uptick in AI, right? We know AI has been around since the 1950s, but in the last 3 years, it's been really what we've considered usable, and it has had a huge impact on society. In fact, do you have any idea how many Chat GPT hits there are a day, Kelly? Take a guess. Take a wild guess.
Oh gosh, I want to. Now you're making me think big. Is it like a
Mhm.
billion or something like that?
A billion would be small.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, there is somewhere between 3 and 5 billion hits on ChatGPT alone. So remember, our big three AI kind of models that we look at are Claude, right?
Mhm.
Well, four really is Claude. There's Gemini. There's Chat, which is probably like, it's like the biggest one. And then there's Copilot, which is kind of like it's one of the smaller ones, but as far as like building productivity, it's a really great one.
Mhm.
So just on one of those like one of those AI bots or those AI systems, one of the hits is about 3 to 5 billion a day. So AI is a big deal. So therefore, we know it's going to have a huge impact, and it's going to have a huge impact in our schools. If we haven't already seen it, I think that what we are seeing are just the beginnings of that. So in response to that, Cass
Mhm.
said, "Well, maybe we should make an AI group," and so that's what we created. We created a UDL and AI learning group. And then once we started diving into that, we found that there's a spectrum of interests, and there's a spectrum of knowledge, and there's a spectrum of topics to kind of look at within AI. So if you were to click on, you already joined, if you've joined, you get this view. You'll already see that there's UDL and AI learning community. Again, I click on that. And I look through it, and there are a ton here around AI. Right now, there's the general community, which I'll show you in just a moment. There's a learner agency community. There's an AI inclusive tech and accessibility community. There's a research community. And then there's one around rural education that we just kind of started and we're getting off the ground. So these are all kind of like we pulled our people that were in the community and said, which one should we keep? Which one should we move? Which ones should we offer? And this is kind of what our community responded with. And so we built those out and we put some moderators and hosts in there. So like the one that is around inclusive tech and accessibility, our own Mia Lodato is one of the hosts. And so you know that you're going to get some good stuff there. She's constantly posting. I'm constantly chasing her down, trying to beat her on posts. But
Mhm.
you'll find that there's a ton. Like the AI and UDL research is headed up by Jenna. The learner agency is headed up by Neil. The rural education is headed up by a bunch of folks, but one of those being Amanda Bastoni, one of those being Anne Marie Noki. There's tons of folks in there, and again, like we're always adding to this. So what happens within these communities? Great. Now you're in the community. So what, right? I know that that's what you were asking. That's the thing that you're asking next, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go
right.
into the community that you already have, or one of the spaces within the community that you already have. And that's just the general, right? So in the general, there's a feed that always kind of happens, right? And you can see there are folks that are posting in here from all around, right? So we do everything from post resources like this one, right? Um, we have folks that post their own stuff or ask questions. We have a Monday question that we ask that kind of sustains us. Like if you think back to old Twitter chats and it was like, hey, here's your UDL chat question for the week. We put those in. So like we'll ask big questions, big, large questions that don't have a simple, clear answer to kind of talk about in the community and have conversation around all week. We'll host events. So our latest one was last February. We have one of these a month and it's usually with an expert either in the field of UDL, the field of accessibility, or the field of AI. And Christina Ishmael happens to be one in all of those areas. So she was a great poll. We do these live, and then we post up the recording. So if you don't make it, that's okay. You can come and check it out on
Mhm.
our recording, and that's just in your general feed, right? And so you have folks that like here's one that I created around resources, right? And you can pull it up, and there's much larger, and there is no limit to how long you can write, obviously, because I tend to write a lot. But you can check these out. These are working papers. These are all our some of our resources. If I orient you even further within this, if you go, there's events across the top. So these are the upcoming events, the past events. So if you were looking for that chat from Christina Ishmael, and if you don't know her, you need to check her out. Or if you want to see one from Alexis Reed, which I'm sure some of you folks probably know, she's in there. If you want to see one from David Rose, which I don't know if you've heard about this guy, but he's pretty interesting dude to talk with. I sat down, had a chat with him. You can go and find those directly in there. Now, remember, we've only started this community in October, and we're already kind of catching up and getting a lot of steam going forward. So there's going to be more events that are coming. If you want to see, let me move my face out of the way. We have our highlighted hashtags. This is where you will find all of our chats. So you can go ahead and click on chat question 14, and you can see, these are our chat questions from that time. So we have highlighted hashtags. We have a full resource library. So as we add things like this working paper or OECD just dropped a huge anticipated digital education outlook book that it's massive and it's worth the read. So we wanted to put that in. If you want to see where your members, where everybody is, look at this. Look at all our smiley, happy members, right? Kelly, I don't see you in here,
I know. And
so
I'm like, where
that's kind of
is
awkward.
it? The space gets bigger as the more you post. Is that what happens?
Yeah, the more you post, the bigger it gets. You can also find members that are near you if you want to go and grab some coffee. So, Kelly, I don't see you in here either. I don't want to shame you into maybe posting, but you're not showing up on my bubbles.
I was
You
waiting
can
for
also,
everyone here to join so we could all
sure. Yeah.
join
So you can
in.
have a big conversation.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And so then you can also see who our board members are, especially for in this community or this space, which is part of our larger community. We have some pretty big hitters. We have Chris Hagel, we have Maya Israel. There's Tara Nutras, who is the Chief Innovation Strategist at Lenovo. We have Christina Ishmael in this board grouping, and those folks jump in here as well. We also have a beginner course in here. It's not really around AI. This one is again just a copy of the Let's Get Started course. But as time goes on, who knows what we'll add? And that's the whole idea. The whole concept is that this starts to break down like these towers or it makes the landscape pretty flat so that we can kind of talk to each other and that we can have conversations with the field and with folks that are in research and just kind of all kind of get together and share our ideas around UDL and talk about what we want to build as a community and what we want to build as a movement. So that's kind of a quick rundown. I know that we've got
Yeah.
like 10 minutes, and I wanted to kind of open it up to questions that you may have, Kelly, or if there's anything in the chat that people are like, oh, this thing looks fantastic. Sign me
Yeah.
up
Well,
now.
so I'm curious, like circling back to when you asked how many hits that Chat GPT gets, and you said like over 3 billion or something like
Mhm.
that. I'm wondering, and I just kind of put this back on the group, do you feel like it'd be beneficial to have different communities that were just focused on Gemini, just focused on
Hmm.
Copilot for people who are that's their space and maybe that's the only space they're able to use within their work environment that can kind of even narrow down that more? Do you think that would be something that would be beneficial?
I mean, it's definitely something that we could put together. It's definitely something that we've float out. And those are so overall the community is about concepts around AI, right? And concepts in UDL. But there are some practical pieces. So like this is my big host view. I know. Try not to be so impressed, everybody. I'm part of a lot of groups. I don't want to say too much, but I'm part of a lot of groups. But let's take a look at that inclusive tech
Yeah.
grouping because I think that while I don't want to say no, I would never say no to anything, right? This inclusive tech and accessibility group, they post a ton of stuff, right? They post polls, they post questions, but they post a lot of resources that are agnostic to a specific chat group or a specific
Yeah.
resource or tool. But there's a ton of resources and tools in here. Now, do I think it would be interesting to say, check out Gemini's capability? What's Gemini really good for? Well, Gemini's kind of wordy, folks. And so if you're looking for something that's kind of wordy and something that fits in with your notebook, and if you're using a lot of Google Docs, Gemini might be your thing, right? Whereas Claude is something that's really great for research, especially like Sonnet 4.6. If you have not checked out Claude Sonnet 4.6 for research, it will
Hmm.
blow your mind. It is so good, right? So having specific chat friends or LLMs that we're taking a look at may not be a
Hmm.
bad idea. That's something that you could kind of post up in the community, and
Yeah.
then
And we did get
we'd be like,
feedback.
dope.
So yeah,
Yeah,
so someone does like seeing and hearing different views of each chatbot. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to focus
yeah.
on only Gemini. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
for sure. Because I've used like them, then I feel like, oh my gosh, this one's more powerful. And this it just depends
For
on what
this thing, right?
yeah, for like the goal, right? We think about what's the goal of the
Yeah.
AI and which one I'm going to dive into. So
Yep.
another question is, is it, so you mentioned like previous like educational chats, like what was
Mhm.
previously Twitter when in X. Do you recommend hashtags? Can you, when
Yeah,
you're
you can
reading a post,
hashtag
you,
within here, and then once so one of the nice things about having a closed community like Mighty Networks is that we can kind of make some rules. So we can decide if there's a hashtag that's really, we don't have to wait for it to trend with 5 billion people or 5 million people on
Mhm.
Instagram. We can make it trend ourselves. So if we decide we can add it to our highlighted hashtag. So if you had one that was just like, AIM or AIM Cafe, and you wanted that hashtag to be a thing, we could just start using that hashtag. So yeah, you can, if when posting, use hashtags, use it much like you would any other social media. And that's a nice thing because if you're not familiar with social media, if you're used to posting like Instagram, go ahead and post like Instagram. If you're used to posting like Twitter, go ahead and post like Twitter,
Yeah.
without the rants. If you are used to posting on Facebook, go ahead and post like Facebook. That's the beauty of Mighty Networks is that it allows for you to have kind of that openness in the ways that you want to approach things. And if you have never posted any of those things and you're like, I just want to post this, this article that I was reading, you can go ahead and do that too, and it will automatically take care of all the formatting for you.
Yeah. With no ads and like spam
No
stuff that
ads.
pops up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're not targeting you, and I'm not going to be like, well, you searched avocados 2 years ago. Here's an avocado splitter. Like, it's not going to do any of that,
Well,
which is
that's where I do
nice.
my best shopping is when the ads
Well,
pop up.
yeah, the late night shopping is become an issue for me. Trust me, I make bad financial decisions late at night.
So if any of you avocados pop up on your social media feed today after this conversation, let us know. So we have someone in the chat that said with Americans with Disabilities Act, Title
Hmm.
II, and WCAG 2.1, which is the
Hmm.
website content accessibility guidelines, level AA, is there a community for practical multimedia development for K-12 or higher education accessible learning experiences?
Not yet, but there are talks, right? And so that would probably fit more into one of our larger community discussion boards, like or one of our larger communities. So remember, there are two different communities. There's the CAST UDL community, which is the community overall. It talks about CAST or it talks about UDL just in general and accessibility just in general, right? And then there's the one that's very specific to AI, right? So that is one that we could definitely build, or
Mm-hmm.
or there has been talk about building in our larger community because there is a UDL and accessibility group. Now that group has lost its host, so what we did is we kind of sundown the group. But if somebody's looking to host or looking to take it another way, like that is something that we can reopen and install people as space hosts, which is kind of a cool title to have, quite honestly. You're the
I
space
really like that.
host,
Look at
right?
my
You're the
shirt.
space,
I mean,
right?
maybe I should be
Exactly.
the space host.
You could be a space host
I
if you
have a
want.
planet on my shirt,
You
just
do
like we
realize
planned
this
it.
is you do realize this is being recorded, right? So you are probably now going to be tapped for that work.
The
Just
space host.
saying.
That sounds
Yeah.
so cool.
You're the space host with the most from coast
Yeah.
to coast. There you
So,
go.
Christopher, I love that question. And on the CAST website, we do have a lot of resources, especially
Hmm.
now with Title II. We're really
Yes.
thinking about how are we creating our materials to ensure they are compliant and they are accessible for the greatest range of users, right? So, we do have a lot of resources on there. And I love that idea of being very intentional, having that one community. I think that's something that we should volunteer our friend Bryan here to get set up, and then we can just really focus on the laws and policies and thinking about where you're at, what are things that you need to start doing on depending on the size of your organization. And I love that.
Yeah.
So we also have someone, I believe, from Switzerland, if I read that right. Maybe I did not earlier. My university doesn't allow us to use AI in our research.
Right. Right, right. And so, well, first of all, give me the name and number of some folks, and we'll have a chat. I'll just directly reach out to them, Teresa, and we'll just chat with them. No, but quite honestly, there's lots of universities that won't allow that, but there's plenty of room for us to build research, mirror a research, UDL research, community space within our larger UDL space. So the idea of the research space in AI was research around AI and UDL together. Wasn't utilizing AI in your research, but more like looking at how do we research the effects of AI and
Mhm.
the potential of AI within research. So
Yeah, I think
But
you
yeah,
should start that conversation in the community for sure.
yes, this is, yeah. And this is, you know what? Absolutely, Linda, this is a space to ask other members about problem solving UDL issues and AT questions. In fact, if
Yes.
you, I'll share one more time. I know that we're running short on time and I don't want to interrupt any, I want people to be able to get to where they need to get to. But,
It's a great space, and you have access to people from all over,
right,
cast staff
this is
plus
the wrong
people,
one.
yeah, all over.
Yeah. And in fact, if you take a look at that, I think it's this one. Sorry, I have to jump between and share everything. If you take a look at that AI and inclusive tech, that is one of our burgeoning spaces, like one of our banger spaces. And so people are in there all the time. And so they're asking questions and you can put it to the entire community and you don't have to, that doesn't mean it goes out to everybody in the UDL and AI learning community. It
Hmm.
just goes out to the people in the AI and inclusive tech and access space. So you could ask a question that's pretty technical right here. And you would have some of the best minds that we have around kind of
Hmm.
pushing back on it and answering your questions. So yeah, this is a great place to share individually. That's what I love about it. It's sharing in three different ways. It's sharing to a large, broad community. It's sharing one to one, and then it's sharing resource to resource. So there's three ways for that platform for you to be both a producer in that platform and a consumer in that platform. And when you really kind of build that concept, that's how you build a sustainable platform that keeps moving on. And as you build, producers and consumers, and you allow people to be both and change between them.
Yeah, and a
So if you
question is,
want to lurk, come lurk.
there you go. Yeah. You just post in the feed, right? You just post the
Yep.
questions in the feed. Can you
Yep.
tag people?
You
If you
can,
wanted, like, if
absolutely.
I wanted to find, like, Linda had a question for you specifically, could
Mhm.
I tag her?
Absolutely. Same way you would anything else. So if I wanted to say something to at Laura, right? So I would just hit oops, it's not giving me, I don't know if there we go. Like I
You
said, I'm
can
not
tag
very
me to
good.
prove that I'm in there.
Are you in here? I mean, I'm not
Just
seeing it. I
please,
mean,
just
let's see if there's a
so it
K.
could be recorded.
K-E. I guess I'll go with E-L-O. See if there's Kelly Henderson. There's Kelly Cray.
I
I
mean, disregard.
mean,
Why is it not popping
I
up?
mean, I'm just saying, I just put you on blast. No, you put you on blast, and I just exist here.
I
That's
did.
just in this community. I'm just kidding. Like Kelly is probably in the larger community, right? This bigger community, instead of in the space of AI learner agency. So we can try again. But yeah, I can just tag you. I just hit at, and then it pulls up all the folks that are in this community, all the members that are in this community, right? And I can
Can you
tab
invite
through.
other people within the
I
community?
can.
Okay.
Look at who this is.
See, there I am, folks. We can end on that. I am in the
There she
communities.
is. And
Perfect.
then I'm just gonna hit my post.
Okay. Well,
There you
Bryan Dean,
go.
this
Yes,
was really,
ma'am.
really helpful. And I got tagged in there, which is great. So if you're joining, make sure you hop in that thread there and we can continue the conversation. So, anything else do you want to, for the good of the cause, while we wrap up here?
Oh, check out the Learning Podcast, the Learning Experience Podcast that Kelly and I do. Check out this space. Hit me up in it and bring your ideas, bring your big brains, bring your big heart, and we'll create something cool and great. Make epic stuff, man.
That's right. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks, everyone.